What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to the Blazers Uprise Postgame Show, powered by Sleeper. Today, the Portland Trail Blazers played a basketball game in New York City, and I wish I could just leave it at that because this game was absolutely disgusting from your Portland Trail Blazers. Absolutely disgusting basketball. They lose by 30 to the New York Knicks, 127-97. The Blazers now 3 games below 500. Hopefully this is their worst stretch of the year because this is a very, very ugly stretch the past few games. Deni Avdija continues to look not 100%. You had Donovan Clingan hurt his hand at some point this game. He looked rough. Really, there was not much to talk about in terms of things that went right in this game for your Blazers outside of Sharpe making some jumpers. He was really the only player that showed up today. Eric, what's going on, man? Great way to start the weekend, huh? You're muted.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah.
What's up, chat? How's everyone doing? Thank you for joining us despite that horrible effort by our Blazers. But yeah, Sharpe had it going a little bit. Bill was okay on the boards and on defense, but short of that, didn't really get much else in this game, and it's hard to beat a good team with these horrible starts to games. And I'm just sick of looking down at the time and seeing like 8 minutes in the first quarter. So it's been like 4 minutes, and we have like 2 points. You know, I'm sick of games like that. It seems like we have the last 4 been like that.
Yeah, sorry about the autoplay ESPN ad on my laptop. Dude, I just got to say, I am sick and tired of how soft this team can be mentally. The past 3-4 games, they have been horrible mentally. From the coming into games and not being prepared to play, having awful first quarters where they look like they're sleepwalking. I'm getting sick and tired of the energy. It drives me crazy how often I hear, oh, at least they play hard. They play hard for Chauncey. They play hard for Tiago. You know, this is a team that plays hard. Nobody ever really talks about it when they don't play hard. This team is not playing hard the past 3-4 games. This team is playing soft as hell. The other thing mentally, take care of the freaking ball. Everybody used the lack of a point guard excuse with some of the turnover issues. We've been worse at taking care of the ball since we've gotten Drew Holiday back. He's been a big part of some of the turnovers the past couple of games. Like he's the thing is his turnovers are like incredibly like dumb, which is weird because he's a championship winner. You know, he was the starting point guard with Giannis in Milwaukee when they won the championship in 2021. He's supposed to be the vet that calms things down. He's been absolutely horrific the past couple of games. But this team just is not mentally engaged to start games, and it's freaking frustrating as hell, man, to watch this team just not show up. The defensive effort at times throughout this game was abysmal. The 5-minute stretch where the Knicks didn't score at the end of the second half, some of that was due to missed shots, some of that was due to the Blazers started pressuring the ball a little bit, but weren't letting them get comfortable. They were actually engaged defensively. The defensive effort is far too inconsistent. The turnovers are freaking ridiculous. They don't box out. They don't put a body on guys. They give up 16 offensive rebounds. They only have 8, even though they shot much worse than the Knicks, okay? They didn't do a good job attacking the paint. They didn't do a good job shooting threes. They were 13 for 43. This was after they were 9 and 22 at halftime. So in the second half, they were 4 and 21. They looked like a team that didn't belong on the floor with the New York Knicks, especially in that second half. They give up 40 points in the fourth quarter. They get outscored by 20 points in the second half. And this team is too good to be getting beat by the Washington Wizards, who, by the way, lost by 31 today against the Los Angeles Lakers, and then come out against this Knicks team and lose by 30. Earlier in the season, we got to talk about, at least they're in close losses. At least they're getting crunch time experience where they can make mistakes but learn from them. At least they're competitive. At least it looks like a solid product. What I've seen the past few games is a far cry from that. And it's extremely frustrating how they seem to have figured things out. They get a game above 500, and the minute I say this is a good basketball team, they freaking suck and look like the worst team in the league. That pisses me off, man, because this team is better than this, and they're not playing it like it, and I don't know what the hell's going on. I guess they're that dependent upon Deni playing like a superstar, where if he comes out there in a game like this and doesn't play like a superstar, nobody else knows what the hell to do. They all forget how to play basketball. We've seen some awful games without him when he's hurt, and right now he's not 100%. I don't know why he's not playing. We can get into that. But the freaking effort and like the mental approach to the game and the attitude is disgusting to me right now. And part of the reason it disgusts me is because this is a team that's supposed to be, oh, we make people uncomfortable. We play hard. We give intensity, like they don't look anything close to that right now. So I'm freaking frustrated as hell with this team. I can tell that the fan base is frustrated as hell with this team. I can always tell kind of by the chat and by people just being disengaged with this team. Some of it, we see not as many people showing up for streams because they are frustrated with this team, don't care about this team right now. I don't blame them. But shout out to those of you who are here. I'm freaking frustrated, Eric. This is the most frustrating stretch of the year, and it just hits differently than previous years too, because at least previous years we expected it. I finally started expecting this team to play good basketball because they were playing good basketball to start the year, and they ended this month freaking terribly.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to keep coming back to this, but it seemed to directly line up with when they start feeling themselves and think they've arrived and think they're a good team now, the effort starts to wane and they don't do the things that got them out of that hole when they were 12-19 on the season and fought their way back to being above 500 for a game. It feels like they just stop thinking they need to play hard and that they're now a good team and all of a sudden they can just roll the ball on the court and be fine. And it's kind of sad that that level of effort happens when we all know they can't let up. They're not a good enough team to take their foot off the gas and coast at all. And that combined with like the zone was getting absolutely murdered in this game. And
how many times have we said that this year?
Yeah, and here we are in the second half, still running the zone, still giving their shooters on the sides open threes because, I mean, we got kind of lucky that Shamit and Mikhail and stuff, they missed some wide open threes in the second half. And so this could have been a lot worse, but it's tough, man. And I know a lot of people are fighting through injuries or coming back from injuries and stuff. I don't know. I'm hoping, Scoot, that's the one thing that I can almost guarantee he'll provide when he comes back in is some energy. And this team needs a shot of that right now. So hopefully with the rumors that he's now cleared for contact and practice and all that kind of stuff, hopefully we'll get that burst back soon. But we shouldn't need that though, too. Obviously we need Scoot to be like able to take that next step, but like we shouldn't need that someone to come off an injury who's been out all year to reignite this team because man, it's been frustrating watching this team just like walk around like zombies out on the court.
Yeah. 100%, man. There's just problems all over the floor. This team literally got beat in every single area tonight. Let me try and update these team stats. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. I don't know why it's that far back.
Lakers.
I know. It went really far back. That was a much prettier stat graphic. This one is freaking ugly. The Knicks shoot 48% from the field, 42% from three. So you don't do a good job defending the paint or defending the three-point arc or defensive rebounding. There is literally nothing good defensively about this game whatsoever. Not a single good thing that I have to say about anyone defensively on this team. You let Jalen Brunson go off. Somehow we have Drew Holiday and Tamani Kamara and Donovan Clingan in the starting lineup, and we can't play a lick of defense. We have Robert Williams off the bench. We can't play a lick of defense. I don't understand. They brought in Drew Holiday to be, a two-way, fit their defensive mindset, be a two-way player, play both sides of the floor, and he played literally neither in this game. Can Drew Holiday not slow down Jalen Brunson anymore? Like, is Drew Holiday just washed? I don't know. He had some good offensive moments at the start of the season, but defensively, this doesn't look like prime Drew Holiday. This does not look like the Drew Holiday that we saw when they won the championship in Boston, or the Drew Holiday we saw in Milwaukee. Like, who's he slowing down? Who is he individually locking up, even if it's just for a couple of possessions? Like, I don't know, man. He seems old. He seems a step slow defensively. Tamani Kamara can't stop fouling. He just tries to deny, but he can't slow down a guy like Jalen Brunson. It's been a story all year long. They can't slow down an opposing star. And it just makes no sense because theoretically going into the season, we're like, ooh, maybe this could be a borderline top 5 defense because they have Drew Holiday and Tamani Kamara. That's two of the best point of attack defenders in the league. And then they can't defend at the point of attack for games like this. And it makes no freaking sense to me. Jalen Brunson finishes with 26 points in 34 minutes. I guess you can say that's below his season average. He was 8 for 20 from the field.
I mean, he didn't have to play the last few minutes.
Yeah. So, I guess, but for stretches, he torched them. And it was always like the stretches where the Blazers start to chisel back and, Jalen Brunson 3. Oh, Jalen Brunson 3. Oh, Jalen Brunson bucket. OG Anunoby goes 10 for 16. He has 24 points. Josh Hart has 20 points. The Blazers went into this game not guarding him again, even though they did that last time they played, and Josh Hart cooked him last time they played. Now, this time it wasn't from behind the three-point arc, but Josh Hart's too good to go into a game with a game plan that you're just not going to freaking guard him. You're going to put Clingan on him, and Clingan's just going to leave him, and he can drive, he can attack, whatever. Completely ludicrous game planning in both of the Knicks games this season. You let Tyler Kolek score 13 points in 18 minutes. Of course, we traded the pick that the Knicks used to draft him for 3 future seconds that we'll probably trade all for cash. Even Mohamed Diawara goes 4 for 8 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3. This is a rookie who was taken with the 51st pick in this past year's draft. He's already better than Ryan Repair. He's already better than Ryan Repair. All right? He's had some moments for them this year. Shout out to him. He's a plus 27 tonight. In 17 minutes. We were actually competitive in the minutes Mohamed Diawara was not on the floor. We only got outscored by 3 in the 31 minutes that Mohamed Diawara was not on the floor today. So that's cool. Yeah, just across the board, you can't play defense. You can't win games, especially when you can only score 97 points. So other side of things, we'll touch on the defense and the offense. But just the complete picture, Eric got collab camped. 30% from 3, not pretty. 20 turnovers, freaking ridiculous. And you let them double you up in terms of offensive rebounds. We talk about the fouls. Yeah, they fouled more. But we only shot 5 more free throws. Turnovers, 20 turnovers. Not pretty at all. You're not getting out and running a whole lot. 13 fast break points. Like, offensively, what did they do well today? What did they accomplish? Shaedon Sharpe made some shots. That's literally it. That's the only good thing about the offense today. There was nothing good about this freaking basketball game.
Yep, not a lot of movement. They don't even score 100, so I can't go get a free sausage McMuffin with egg in the morning either. Man, on Saturday morning would have been nice, but whatever. But no, it comes down to me. It's like, so last game against the Wizards, you kind of sleepwalk and you think, oh, well, we can turn it on as the Wizards at any point. And then you get in a close game and then they hit a couple shots and all of a sudden it's like, oh crap, we're going to lose to the Wizards. But this game and the Boston game, and was it Toronto we lost to before that? Mm-hmm. It's like these better teams, like you can't come out of the gates that flat and get down and expect to just come back every time. Like, and that's an issue. The starting lineup Like when we're missing guys, it's one thing, but the starting lineup tonight should have been capable of holding off a poor performance and getting down right away in the first quarter and not being able to score for several minutes. It's just sad. And then they sub CD Sissoko in, and within like a minute of him subbing in, here he is committing a flagrant foul on an and one 3-point shot, and they get free throws and possession and a 3-point shot off of it. It's like it's just stupid basketball. It's I don't know. They need to be more locked in, and it just seems like it's contagious right now. They're all kind of going through the motions and can't seem to focus, and then 20 turnovers on top of that, man. And a lot of them are live ball turnovers that led to easy baskets, and then a lot of missed shots. We're not getting back on defense and transition defense either, so they're getting a look ahead pass to an open shot, or it's setting up a trailer for a 3-point shot. And how many times did someone like OG like cut to the basket and there's no one around him, and it's just an easy pass for a dunk?
We had that play where we stopped guarding the ball when Diawara had it, and he smoked the lay-in, but literally like everybody left him when he was at the top of the arc, and he had a wide open drive. Just ridiculous defensive breakdowns.
And then you mentioned Drew's defense, but so here's the problem with the zone. So he, a few times he fell asleep off, like, so the pass would go off from the middle to the wing, and then he would relax for a second, and the pass would go back to Brunson, and Brunson would just shoot it because he's wide open, and Holiday just got caught sleeping a little bit. But what happens in the zone a lot is, this happened in the game several times, where the big, whether it's Clingan or Rob, has to go out to get that corner three, and then Drew has to go down and tag that cutter, and it's like Cat a couple times, and then Drew's having to guard him in the post, and then we're all mismatched, and then like one of their guards gets a matchup on one of our bigs or something, and it's just, we can't rotate quick enough. It's just a comedy of errors, and I don't know, man. It just a couple weeks ago, if we had these issues, it would be slightly overcome by the fact that they were flying around and at least hustling and trying to get back into place, trying to rematch up when they get disorganized, or try to hit a rotation. Even if it's not your rotation, someone would hustle to the ball. And it wasn't pretty all the time, but at least you could see the effort and the gears going off, right? Like you could see it turning to see like, okay, this is the team that's really playing like they're locked in and want to win this game. And the last few games, it feels like they're defeated a little bit.
Yeah. Matt Cardle says, which play that we stopped playing defense are you talking about? Yeah, that's a great question. There's too many of them to count. Tamani, complete no-show today, 0 points in 26 minutes. Minus 22. He had been playing better offensive basketball, but there are just nights where he literally won't do anything and won't impact offense. And there's been a few too many nights this year where it doesn't feel like his defense is up to the level that he set last year. So you can't be a starter putting up Ryan repair stat lines. You know what I mean? Like, that's a disgusting game from Tamani, who literally didn't do anything. He's just 0 for 4 from 3. He literally didn't do anything. Didn't have any sort of impact. You got Drew Holiday. He's 2 for 7. He was 2 for 14 last game, so he's 4 for 21 in his last 2 games. He has 4 turnovers, 4 assists. You know, I guess that's a 1-to-1 assist-turnover ratio for some players. It's above their average, but Drew's supposed to be the guy making plays for others at a high level, taking care of the ball, right? Like, there's a higher standard for him as a playmaker than 4 assists, 4 turnovers, with a lot of the turnovers being ridiculously bad turnovers. He has the play where he just throws the ball out of bounds after a timeout. Like, that's our added timeout play. Awful. He has to be better taking care of the ball. He can, like, since coming back, this team has not been better taking care of the ball with him on the floor. And it should not be that way. But I don't know if he's still rusty. He's had multiple games. He's still on a minutes restriction. But, like, He's had multiple games, and he was playing better when he immediately got back than he has the past couple of nights. I don't know what the hell was wrong with him the last 2 games, but he's been terrible. Donovan Clingan, I don't think he's at this point yet, but there are more moments where I feel like he's just unplayable the past few games. I don't know what happened to Clingan, but he is not the same player he was earlier in the season. He's not the same defensive player he was last year as a rookie big man. I've been talking about it. In 22 minutes, he has 7 points. He's a minus 26. He has 6 boards, 4 of them offensive. He's a great offensive rebounder. He is not a good enough defensive rebounder. He's just simply not a good enough defensive rebounder. If he could get defensive boards like he gets offensive boards, that'd be freaking amazing. But he's 1 for 4 from 3. He takes only 2 shots inside the arc. He takes 4 threes, so 2/3 of his shots are from 3. If he was shooting 50%, like he from 3, like he did for the month of December or whatever it was, where he had that super hot stretch, fine, okay, take some threes. But it's funny how the game plan coming into a game is like, Josh Hart shooting 40% from 3 on the year. We're going to dare him to shoot threes. And then our 7'2" center, we're going to have him camp out behind the arc, and he's going to shoot threes. So we want Josh Hart, the 40% three-point shooter, and our 7'2" big man shooting threes. Just completely backwards to me. Like, you should not be leaving Josh Hart wide open, and you should not just be parking Clingan behind the arc. But he's parked behind the arc a lot. He had 2 alley-oop dunks on good passes to him. Those were his 2 shots inside the arc. They do nothing to establish him. But defensively, he's been freaking terrible. Deni's not 100%.
Can I say something about Clingan before?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just bouncing across the starting lineup. Deni's not 100%. Shaedon Sharpe made shots today. He was 10 for 16. He was 4 for 8. He was good. So that was your starting 5. Like, bunch of guys that underachieved, and then Shaedon Sharpe made shots.
In terms of Clingan shooting threes, or anyone, this will apply to anyone, okay? If once a game for like the last how many ever games, I know some games he hasn't made a 3, so this wouldn't apply to those games. But all the other games when he's hit 1 3, how long do we have to go back before he's hit 2 threes in a game? Is it been a while still, or did he hit? Remember when you talked about that or on a previous post-game show, how he had only hit 1, but he was like 1 for 4, 1 for 5, 1 for 2.
Yeah,
do you remember what I'm talking about?
2 threes in a game was January 7th. That was the first Houston game.
So over 3 weeks ago.
He started 2 for 4. He started 2 for 4, and then he was 0 for 2 from 3 that second half. That's when his shooting fell off a cliff.
Okay. So since then, okay, you should not be shooting threes if every time in a game you hit a 3, you turn and go like this, right? Thank you, right? Stop shooting threes then. You suck at shooting threes if you do this every time you make a 3 lately, right? That's all he's doing. Like, anytime he makes a 3, that's all he does is raise his hands to the heavens saying thank you to the basketball gods, right? Yeah. Like, then stop shooting threes. You're not hitting them. Every time you hit one, you're thanking the Lord above. Like, stop shooting them then. You are not a good enough 3-point shooter if every time you hit one, you do that, right? And I forgot, I think Drew did that too when he hit a 3 or something, or someone else did it either tonight or last game. It's just like, oh my God, dude, like.
I'm fine with him shooting threes. I'm not fine with him spending the majority of his time behind the 3-point arc. Like, yeah. And maybe that's an exaggeration, but he spends too much time behind the 3-point arc. You know what I mean? Like, that's why if you look, he shoots more than half his shots from 3 today. Last game when he had 20 rebounds against the Wizards, he was 6 for 17. He was 0 for 3 from 3. He was 6 for 14 inside the arc. Would like that to be a little bit better, but I mean, like, 3 of those misses were one play law of offensive rebounds, right? So, like, okay, fine. The game before that, 5 out of his 9 shots were from 3, so more than half. The game before that, he was 6 for 14, 1 for 4 from 3. He's not really finishing as efficiently as he was earlier in the season. The game before that, 2 of his 4 shots were from 3, so that's 50%. Like, half of his games, half of his shots are from 3. On the month, he's shooting 3.7 threes per game at 25%. He's shooting 9.5 field goal attempts per game. So more than 40% of his shots are coming from 3 at 25% as a 7'2" big in the month of January. If he's shooting like he did last month, when he was 52% on 2 attempts per game, that's also the thing is like he doubled his 3-point volume because he shot well in December, and now his percentage is 25%. He shot 52%, so it's literally not even half of what it was last month, right? But he was like active. He still rolled. Like he took his threes in spots, but he still, rolled hard to the rim, finished when he got the ball on the inside, was strong with the ball. That's gone out the window. I don't know what happened, man, but he seems like he's either in his own head or he's dealing with something that's bugging him physically, because this dude, like there was the play, the play where Cat looked like he had an open 3, and then Tomani went to him, and then Cat swung it to, I think it was OG or somebody, and he had a wide open baseline drive for a lay-in. Mm-hmm. Did you watch Clingan on that play? It was kind of a scramble, but Clingan was on.
I don't remember.
Clingan should have been the one to go out and get Cat, okay? But he was standing kind of around the rim, and he pointed at Tomani. He pointed at somebody to go out and get him. Mm-hmm. But then Clingan started walking towards him, so then that's why when it was swung, there was a wide open baseline drive, and Clingan wasn't there. That whole play was like, oh, I can't move. Somebody take him. I'm going to start walking towards him. Oh, baseline drive. I can't even react to it. I highly recommend you go rewatch that play and watch him. He's moving in slow motion, and he's not fast to begin with. I don't know what the hell happened, but he's been extremely disappointing as of late. He's been a big reason why the Blazers lost against Washington. I mean, yeah, he has some great offensive rebounds, but the impact is not the same. He's supposed to be a guy that's more than just, I collect offensive rebounds. Like Enes Kanter could collect offensive rebounds. So I don't know what the hell happened to Clingan. I'm extremely disappointed in him lately.
Yeah, and I just want to go back to what you were saying about the 2s versus 3s. As Trevin points out, he was shooting better when he was doing a lot more around the rim, and that's, I pointed this out during that stretch. It was like, yes, he's hitting 3s, but he started rolling a lot harder, right? And that's when we started using him in the short roll a lot, and it was working, and the offense was humming all of a sudden. And now it's like he's a pick and pop Brook Lopez big, right? That's all he's doing, and it's really frustrating.
Yeah. The thing is, though, is he was being used in the short roll because teams were doubling Deni.
Yeah, that's true.
Doubling Deni. A lot of their ball movement was sparked by Deni's drives, and Deni draws double teams, hits Clingan in the short roll. So much good came off of Deni's offense. And now that... Go ahead.
I was just saying, you can still, pick and roll, switch. You got a smaller guy on you in a lot of cases. You can still throw it to him in the high post.
This team, the players on the floor are not playing... They're not playing smart.
I know.
It's not like, okay, we can force a switch here and then get our 7'2" big in the post, and he can pass out there if they double. All right, we're going to get him down to the post and we're going to throw it in. There's no second level of thought behind things that they're doing offensively right now. It's kind of just like a little bit of read and react, and let's see if I can get to a shot here. If not, all right, I'm going to try and kick it out, and let's see if we can get the next guy's shot. It's just very kind of linear. There's no, it's like checkers when they could be playing chess. And it's not even advanced to sit here and say, okay, we need our big dudes setting screens, rolling hard to the rim. I'm going to come off this screen. If I can force a switch, I'm going to drag that switch back out to the perimeter and try and get my big man good low post position because we're struggling offensively, right? Instead, you watch them at the start of games, and they're just kind of chucking threes and going through the motions, struggling to get to the rim, and they'll try and score a layup through 2 people and miss it, and it's just completely discombobulated. They don't look well coached offensively lately. And the thing is, when they were winning games, they weren't playing with Drew. Drew's the type of guy that will think to that next level of thought offensively. But the last 2 games especially, he's just been seemingly mentally out of it for whatever reason. I don't know if the trade rumors are getting to him and he's like, ooh, I could be playing for the Knicks instead of the Blazers. I don't know. But something's been off with him.
It's possible.
But this team is way too reliant upon Deni Avdija. The thing is, they've been able to rely on Deni Avdija because he played like a borderline superstar. But we talked about it. His on-off numbers were ridiculously good. ridiculously good. Like, if you just looked at those, you would say he's a top 5 player in the league. That's how good those numbers were. And you could make the case that he was playing like a top 5 player in the league. Since his back injury, some of the games he was out, I know they won a couple of them, but they had 3 absolutely horrific offensive games when he was out. He comes back. They lose to Washington. He doesn't do enough for them to beat Washington. And then they scored 97 points today. He's 4 for 14. The problem is with Deni, if his back's not 100%, he's not going to drive as much and seek out contact as much, and that's kind of his game. He's not playing his game because he's not 100%. I think it's pretty obvious. Like, there were multiple times where I saw a gap where Deni would hit that full speed, create contact, and finish through it. And he, like, took a dribble and then swung it to, like, City Sissoko. And it's like, okay, this dude must not be feeling 100% because he's not attacking these gaps the same way. He's not dishing out contact the same way. He's not being physical as an offensive player in the same way. And that is his best trait. That's what makes him truly special. So there's almost no point to playing him right now, I feel like, if he's not 100%, because that's the thing. If you're driving 20 times a game and there's all these collisions, like, that's not going to help your lower back. And he's playing like that.
And he hurt his hand today. I thought that was going to be serious because he goes to the bench in obvious pain. Yeah. And who knows what'll come with that. Maybe adrenaline kept him in the game or something, but
I don't know. I mean, he then hit a OG Anunoby layup with his left hand and didn't react, so I think he's fine. But, like, my whole point is Deni giving you a consistent 26, 7, and 7. Like, he didn't have bad games. He didn't have games like this. He was, like, so reliable for at least 20 points and high-level passing, high-level playmaking. You know, he only has 3 assists today, 4 turnovers. Like, he is not himself right now. And when he's not himself, this offense then has to look to other guys. But who are you going to look to? Tamani Kamara, he had 0 points in 26 minutes. He was 0 for 4. Who are you going to look to? Drew Holiday, in 22 minutes, he had 5 points. He was 2 for 7. After last game, he was 2 for 14. And he had 4 assists, 4 turnovers. You can look to Shaedon Sharpe. In some games, he'll make some jumpers. And he was 10 for 16 and 4 for 8 from 3 today. But the thing is there's an extra level with Deni where he scores, but then also makes things easier on everybody involved. This isn't to discount Shaedon Sharpe. He was the one guy who showed up today, but Shaedon Sharpe is a scorer. Shaedon Sharpe's not somebody that's going to make everything easier on anybody else. He's gonna go out there, and there's a lot of games where he'll get buckets. And today he absolutely got buckets. It was a good game from him. But you need that primary guy that can score and can make everything easier on everybody else. There was a reason why this offense was better this year, even with a bunch of short-handed lineups and two-way guys playing in the rotation. The offense was still better because they had that primary guy that could consistently score, give the offense a certain floor. If they were struggling, Deni would be the guy. He'd go get a bucket, go get to the free throw line, go get an and one. But then also collapse the defense and kicked out, got easier shots for players, sparked the ball movement, set players up in a good position. Donovan Clingan, I think some of his offensive fall off lately has to do with Deni Avdia's offensive fall off lately, because earlier in the month, and especially last month, Deni was doing a great job of putting Clingan in position to score at the rim. But without Deni driving at the same rate as he was, because he's not 100%, all of a sudden Clingan isn't going to get those same opportunities. All of a sudden Clingan is going to be like, okay, I might as well camp behind the three-point arc and just chuck threes and then thank the Lord when I make 1 of 4. Everything kind of falls apart without Deni Avdia offensively. Whether he's out or whether he's not himself, everything falls apart without him. Even if Shaedon Sharpe makes shots. Even if Caleb Love made shots, which he was 5 for 15 today, 2 for 10 from 3. We'll talk about that. But, like, this team desperately needs Deni. They don't have enough offensive talent to afford Deni not being himself. They are too reliant upon him offensively as constructed.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, this team can only go as far as Deni can take them this year. And that's why it's been disheartening to see him kind of struggle on the court with his physical well-being, because it just, yeah, he just obviously is not 100%. And man, it's questionable going into tonight. They waited till like the last second to say he was playing, pretty much. Just, it's probably not good if we have to manage this back situation the rest of the season. Hopefully the All-Star break, like we talked about last stream, he can get healthy during that. But the back is a tricky thing. It can flare up at any point. So if he's constantly in and out of the lineup from a back strain or something, it's not going to bode well for even when he plays. It's still going to lead to a lot of instances where he's tentative and stuff like that, or can't take that burden because he's physically hurting to try and do that. So we definitely need him as close to 100% as possible. You decide to play him the last 2 games, you lose both of them anyway.
Yeah.
Could have gotten a nice break.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, man. It's tough. It seems like, we talked about Clingan too, but it also seems like he's not 100% either and trying to battle through some stuff. And not to use an excuse for him playing bad or anything, but like last couple weeks, he has not been moving the same as he was earlier in the season. And so obviously there's some stuff going on. I know with all these injuries, there's players like Deni and Clingan who are gamers and don't want to sit out even if they're hurt, or maybe downplay injuries to the training staff to make sure they don't get held out of games. But at some point, this team might have to make a tough decision to think about some of these guys' health long term, and not just fighting to make the playoffs or whatever.
Yeah. Would you say this game and the last game is the worst 2-game stretch as a team the entire season? I think it is, by the way, but
yeah, I mean, obviously when you throw in the Wizards, it's hard to debate that. I mean, they were playing a pretty good team tonight. I felt like, so there was the point where we were at like 500 or something with Thiago earlier in the season, like 7-7 or something like that. And then we went on a bad streak for a while, and then we were 12-19, and then we had a good stretch. I'm trying to remember if there was a 2-game stretch that I could compare to that in that.
I mean, we lost by 24. Lost by 24 at Houston, and then lost an OT to Dallas.
Yeah.
But losing by 30 to the Knicks, and that Dallas game, that was like our first game without Drew, right? Like, given the roster on the floor, you lose to the Wizards, and then you lose by 30 to the Knicks. I believe this is their first 30-point loss of the season. Yeah, it's their first. Normally, we're saying that in October, and by this point, we're saying it's like their 7th 30-point loss of the year. So this is their first 30-point loss of the year, because they lost by 29 at OKC to end the year. Maybe I'm not seeing a score correctly here, but yeah, they lost by 29 at OKC to end the year. So first 30-point loss of the season, off the back of losing to the Wizards. This is despite Shaedon Sharpe shooting 58% from the field. He had 31 points and then 26 points. He was 5 for 9 from 3, then 4 for 8 from 3. And yet they can't be the Wizards, and then they can only score 97 against the Knicks. Like, yeah, it's kind of wild to me. This is up there with some of Shaedon's best 2-game stretches of the entire season.
Mm-hmm.
And yet your offense looks abysmal. Like, Shaedon Sharpe is almost like separate from the rest of the offense, where it's like he'll get his shots, he'll make his or he'll miss his, but like everything else going on with the offense is kind of like everybody else's thing. Like he'll just make his shots or miss his shots like separately. If that does that make sense? That's kind of the feeling I get.
In this particular game, it was more like no one was doing crap, and Shaedon just was like, okay, I'm gonna try and take over here, and he started hitting a couple shots, and then you could tell he was feeling a little bit. So I think this game's a little different than that. I felt like he did step up and kind of lead us back. We cut a 24-point deficit down to 10 at half, I think. So like I felt like he kind of was like, for once, not quite what you're saying. I felt like tonight it was more, okay, he let us back. Now we need someone else to help him, and we come out flat in the third quarter, and no one else stepped up. And he, outside of that stretch where he got, I think, 3 dunks in a row, like he didn't get many shots in the second half either. So like
I don't know what he was at halftime, but I'm wondering what he was in the second half, because
I know he had 19 points on 12 shots at one point, and then
he had a bucket to start the second.
Shots. Yeah.
So here, I'll find it then. So assuming that's right, he shot his 12th shot with 10:22 left in the third quarter. He shot 4 more shots the rest of the game.
Yeah.
It's kind of strange. But, like, he has to be somebody that continues to impose his will on this. That's the thing with Shane Sharpe. He can be on fire. And then, like, for a whole half, just like, 4 shots. Like, not doing anything. Not agreeing for anybody else, not doing anything. It's just like, okay, he was the only offensive player that showed up. But then, I mean, almost the last whole half of this game, was he showing up at all? Like, it's strange. It's strange to me. I wish they could get Sharpe going and then keep him going, or force the defense to account for him more because he's rolling, and turn that into easier shots for everybody else. That's the thing. Yeah. Like when Deni has it rolling and defenses start overreacting to him, that's when, okay, all right, Clingan in the short roll and we're getting good shots out of it. You know, he might throw a lob to a cutter, or he might be able to get a rim, or it's a kick out wide open corner 3, even if it's not the best shooter. It's like, okay, wide open corner 3, cool, great, you know. And like Sharpe had a kick out to a wide open corner 3 for Grant in this game. It was a nice kick out pass. Like he'll have a pass here or there where he'll generate a good shot, but it's just like separate. Like, you got to find a way when he's hot to keep getting him shots, keep putting him in a position to attack. I think some of it's on him continuing to demand the ball and be assertive as a scorer.
Do you still have the game log up, or were you?
Yeah, I have the game log up.
So, yeah, I saw a lot of people talking about this. I'm not sure how long it was because I wasn't thinking about it at the time, but Mason Warner in chat says Splitter subbed him out for hella long in that third quarter. I don't know if you can easily tell how long he was out, but that might contribute a little bit.
He subbed out with 7:04 remaining and got subbed back in with 1:50. So he got subbed out for 5 minutes. And in that time, they were down 13, and then they were down 17.
Yeah.
He came in immediately, had a bucket, but like, okay, so how many minutes? He played basically 7 minutes, a shade under 7 minutes in the third quarter. Which, like, is not hella long to sit 5 minutes. I don't like subbing him out that early to start the quarter. But the fourth quarter, he gets subbed out when they're down 26 with 7 minutes left. I mean, at that point, it's like, yeah, this game's pretty much over. He then comes back in with 5 minutes left, though. I don't know why he ever came back in. Why in the world does he come back in with 5 minutes left when you're down 31? Why'd you sub him out with 7 minutes, sub him back in with 5 minutes? That made no sense. But, like, out of the first 17 minutes, he played 12 of them. He shoots 5 shots in the second half. Yeah, that's the funny thing is Young Hansen entered the game with 4 minutes left. So Sharpe gets subbed back in for less than a single minute with 5 minutes left in the fourth. Kind of strange, but he plays almost 12 of the first 17 minutes. Like, that's more than enough time for him to continue to assert his will in this game like he was in the first half. He was asserting his will. He had 3 threes in a row, which was awesome. But, like, you got to find ways to keep getting him shots when he has it rolling. And literally nobody else can do anything. Like, you got to rely on him. And you got to find ways to use him and use the fact that he's the single guy going offensively to try and open up something else. But instead, it's just a lot of driving from the top of the arc into the paint by Drew and Deni, and then getting stuck, and then turning the ball over, and just a very clunky offense in this game. And that's just the thing with like the Sharpe experiences. He gets his buckets, but it doesn't really open anything up for anybody else. And I think part of that is a coaching issue. I think part of that is Sharpe and his passing struggles, playmaking struggles, like he's a scorer. And then Sharpe kind of going quiet there. Yeah, maybe you could look at the substitution pattern, but he plays almost 12 of the first 17 minutes of the half, and he only has 5 shots in the second half. You know, he shot 11 in the first half. He was aggressive in the first half. But that's the thing is, like, Sharpe will have a rolling and then kind of quiet down and disappear a little bit for a half. And when nobody else can do anything, I wouldn't be sitting here complaining about Shaedon Sharpe taking a bad mid-range shot in the second half. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you would.
I wouldn't have. Don't tell me what I do.
Yeah,
I know.
You would have.
No. So you're calling me a liar. You're calling me a liar.
On this particular subject.
You're calling me a liar. No, I'm not. That's BS. I would not be sitting here complaining about him taking a mid-range shot when we're down 30 and he's the only guy that can do anything. And half the time we go down the floor, we can't get a shot up. There is far more to complain about than Shaedon Sharpe taking a mid-range shot. But a lot of times when I complain about Sharpe taking mid-range shots is games where, like, I think it was last game or the game before, where he's really good at the rim, really good from 3, but he's 1 for 5 from the mid-range. Right? Funny thing enough, he had a super efficient game today. He didn't really shoot any shots from the mid-range. Everything was a 3 or within 8 feet. Yeah. So there you go. But like, dude, if they're loading up on you so much and you're the only guy that can do anything and the only thing you can get to is a mid-range shot, but literally nobody else can even take care of the ball or do anything or make a shot, like, okay, I get it. There's a difference in context there. Literally nobody can do anything else. Literally nobody can do anything else. Jacob, I'm tired of your misinformation, man. You keep doing that, I'm just gonna ban you for lying in the chat. All right? Don't pull that crap on me. I'm annoyed about this game, and that comment annoys me. So, anyway, yeah, he needs to continue being more aggressive, but they need to find ways to like keep him engaged in the offense a little bit more. I've talked about this a million times. Run him off more curls. I don't really understand why they don't. He's really good running off of curls. But yeah.
But that's all our offense is, Drew, drive in, try to make something happen. Shade, it's your turn, try to make something happen. Deni, try to drive. Like that's all we do. Like I feel like it's not, I mean, Deni can overcome that because he can cook like in any situation really, but when he's healthy at least. But like no one else can really do that like at will or whenever they want to or against whatever coverage the defense is playing. So I feel like there does need to be some structure sometimes, and I'm still waiting for it, Tori. I feel like it's been 2 years now. Can we please run a play to like a set play to try and get him a backdoor cut or a lob at the rim? Like why would we not ever even try to just keep a defense honest by sending him backdoor on a back screen or something once a game or something like that, just so the other team has to always account for the possibility of doing that. And then when you come off the dribble handoff, you're probably like a half a second more space because the defense was worried for a second about you possibly going backdoor. Like, I don't understand why we never incorporate any kind of action towards the hoop other than if it's in the short roll or off a pick and roll where the big man rolls.
Yeah. I'm going to respond to this Connor comment because it's kind of BS. He says, you would 100% complain if you missed the first couple and he kept taking them. And I said this in chat, but for those of you not reading chat, there is a difference between settling for mid-range jumpers when you're not a good mid-range jump shooter compared to you have it rolling, the offense is turning over the ball like crazy, you have even more defensive attention because you're the only guy that can do anything, and that's the only shot you can get to when the rest of the offense can't do anything. Those are two very different contexts. two very different contexts. I don't like when Sharpe settles for mid-range shots when he can take another dribble and rise up and get to like a 8 to 9 foot floater, which I think is a more efficient shot for him. I don't like him settling for mid-range shots when he has the ability to step back for three and take a three, right? But when you're the guy going offensively, you're going to start to get more defensive attention. When you're making threes like he did in the first half, you're going to start getting run off the line. The paint was pretty packed. Shooting mid-ranges in that context is different than settling for them. I don't know how else to explain that, but it's two different contexts.
Wes says we're not allowed to screen off ball or inside the arc. Apparently, yeah. I guess it's a rule against the Blazers.
You know what drove me crazy? There was a play with Clingan, like free throw line extended, and there's somebody in the corner on the weak side. I think the ball was kind of near the top of the arc, though. And Clingan just stands there. It's like, dude, just go set a pin down. Go screen away for him. Like, get him coming off a curl, and you can roll off that screen, and it turns into a de facto like side pick and roll. But we don't have motion in terms of like off ball screens and popping the ball around. I was paying attention to it in this game. The ball doesn't really stick with the Knicks. Like, sure, Jalen Brunson will ISO a little bit and get to a shot, but he's Jalen Brunson, right? Okay, he's really good at that. The ball pops around the perimeter. Guys will screen away. Like, they make quick decisions. For the Blazers, the ball sticks so much. And this is what I talked about with the issues with the offensive system, where everybody's waiting for the guy with the ball to drive to spark the movement, right? Once the ball's driven, then depending on the way it's driven, like certain guys will cut, and then if it gets kicked out, you're supposed to, ideally, you're supposed to either shoot, swing the ball, or attack a closeout. But when you're not attacking rotation, then it basically results in the guy with the ball is trying to win at the point of attack and doing whatever he can to try and win at the point of attack, or skipping the ball along, and then that guy has to win at the point of attack, right? But if you're going up against a set defense and you're not getting that defense moving or shifted or creating gaps or being able to drive and beat your defensive player at the point of attack, it gets stuck really easily. It looked really good when you have Deni Avdija playing like a superstar, constantly winning at the point of attack to the point where he was leading the league in drives per game by about 3 drives per game and sparking all that movement, and it looked really, really good. But the problem is, especially against good defensive teams, and especially when Deni Avdija is not playing well, it gets stuck. We saw it earlier in the season. We're seeing it right now. And it's almost like defense is just like, okay, this guy's going to drive. The guy with the ball is going to drive. When it's Jeremy Grant, all right, the guy with the ball is going to drive. We're going to load up on that drive. We have our help side set. It's not a defense that's being moved at all. It's not a defense that's being shifted. It's not a defense that's stuck in rotation and getting beat on closeouts. So they're able to load up on Grant's drives. He has 4 turnovers today, 2 assists. He's not a playmaker. If he can't get all the way to the rim, what is he going to do when he does anything off the dribble, right? We've talked about Shane Sharpe. He has his playmaking struggles, but he can make shots. But when those guys drive in this offense, the whole point is you drive, and if you have an opportunity, you take it. If not, you make a good pass, and it creates an advantage for somebody else. But when you have guys that aren't the best passers making those decisions, then a lot of times they're just going to force a shot against a defense that was already set to begin with because the ball is sticking a little bit. When in Drew today, he drove, wasn't able to get to the rim, got stuck, turned over the ball. He was not beating his guy cleanly off the dribble. He's kind of like I'm gonna use my body against my main defender, but I'm gonna take him down into the paint with me, and then there's traffic. He's not beating that guy off the dribble and forcing a clean rotation out of the defense. So that's why it's when Deni's not going, and then you're relying on everybody else. They don't really have the personnel for that, in my opinion.
Yeah, part of it, though, is so if Deni drives, he's got Drew and Sharpe and Clingan and Tamani. So he's got like our starting lineup today, you have, in theory, whoever's driving should be able to take care of it. But when Deni's not himself or not playing, that takes away one person. So instead, it's like City Sissoko or someone, and then you're facing a defense that's leaving that guy open, and then so like if Sharpe's driving or whatever, then now he's got Drew, City, Clingan, and Tamani. So he's still got a couple of good options, but like Tamani didn't do anything in this game. Drew didn't do anything in this game. Clingan didn't do much in this game. So like, and City was terrible. So like, I don't know, man. It's like it's tough when no one's doing anything, and then you're the one person who can do something. But I do agree that the ball is it's sticking way too much. And it was supposed to not do that this year. Like the whole point of the offense was everyone was going to be moving, and there's just way too much standing around. And the 3-point shooting philosophy, like to get up all these threes to shoot. I don't know if we're where we're at right now, but at one point in the league, the year we were 5th in 3-point attempts, but near the bottom in accuracy or percentage. And it just makes me wonder, like, why are we still playing this like 4-out type offense where you rely on someone to drive in the paint and score or kick out? And like you said, when Deni's doing it, I mean, he's drawing so many fouls and so much defensive attention. It's like practice shots sometimes, but we don't have anyone else that can replicate that. So we need more movement. We need those guys to cut every once in a while instead of just always spotting up for kick out threes when you're not a good shooter. So until that changes, I don't see how to fix all these little things either. The ball not sticking.
Yeah. Yeah. There's just offensive flaws that I feel like have been masked by Deni. I mean, with how good Deni's been this season. Let me look up the adjusted offensive rating. Okay. They are 22nd offensively. They're 22nd offensively, with Deni playing like a borderline superstar all season long. That shows you how much he's carrying this offense when he's in the game. The on-off splits. Just when he's not on the floor, they're probably a bottom 3 offense in the league, bottom 2 offense in the league. Like, nobody else can run things. Drew Holiday, at least the past couple of games, like, he hasn't been able to run things. If Deni's healthy, also here's the question. Like, he needs to be the point guard instead of Drew Holiday. He needs to be the guy that initiates everything. Drew Holiday has to figure out a way to play off Deni.
Mm-hmm.
Drew Holiday this year is shooting like 40% on pull-up threes and 28% on catch-and-shoot threes.
Yeah.
That's not good. Because next year, when he's another year older and you have Dame and you have Deni, he's going to have to be even more of an off-ball player. Now, it is a small sample size. He's played 21 games, right? But he has to be a catch-and-shoot guy. Like, he has to knock down catch-and-shoot threes. The thing is, when the ball's swung to him and he doesn't have a catch-and-shoot three, Holiday, a lot of times, he's one of the guys where the ball kind of sticks to him and he's slow and methodical. And that's not the way this offense is designed. Like, I think especially lately, man, he takes a lot of dribbles. And I'm starting to wonder if he's just not a good offensive fit for where this roster is going and what the system is this year. It might be different next year with a new coach. But I don't know if he's a good offensive fit. He can make some really good passes. He can have some games where he plays really, really smart and he's really, really fun. But he's a tertiary ball handler next year. Dame will have the ball more. Deni will have the ball more. He has to play like that. He did in Boston. So maybe it's fine. Maybe I'm kind of overreacting to what I've seen lately. Because, you know, they have Tatum, Brown. Like, they had guys that had the ball in their hands a lot. But I don't know, man. I don't know about the fit.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of my concerns when we made that trade. But I don't know. I I mean, what has he been back for, like 5 or 6 games? I am willing to let him have a little bit of leeway based on his career, but I mean, he
Yeah.
is an older player too. At this point, he's not going to speed up his game or anything like that. So, um, yeah, I think he'll be fine. Like, I'm not really worried about him, but it is something to where I agree. It doesn't really match our style. It's kind of slowing it down, and we were much better with Deni running the show. Now, obviously, tonight he wasn't able to do that, so we had to kind of scramble to figure something out on the fly. But that's also where one of my biggest issues with coaching is it's like we don't really have any counters to if the Deni drives aren't happening or if he's not capable or if he's not in the lineup. We don't really have something to go to be like, okay, we're going to rely on this part of our offense then. And short of making a bunch of threes or a higher percentage than we've shooting or a hot stretch of shooting, there's really no chance this offense has of generating good looks without that.
Yeah. So Holiday's played in 21 games. They're 9-12 with them, which means they're 500 without him. Here's the thing. Like, I would not be questioning the offensive fit if it was like, oh man, his defense so awesome. He's locking guys up in, looks like prime Drew Holiday defense. Like, it's not that he's a bad defender, but I don't think he's the same level of defender as he used to be. So that's when you got to start questioning, okay, if he's not the same level of defender as he used to be, then he has to fit in offensively. He's not just somebody where you could excuse maybe a little bit of a misfit offensively because he's more than making up for it on the defensive end. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think he still has trade value. I think he has more trade value than Anthony Simons does at this year's trade deadline. I would certainly listen to offers for him. Like, that's the thing is I don't even think it's a bad trade because if it's like, oh, it looks kind of weird right now, I still think there's teams out there that would love to have him, even with his contract. I think Houston would be a team that would be very interested in him and maybe give up an asset for him. Of course, we've heard the Knicks, and they want to convince Giannis to come to New York, and they're interested in Drew and have had conversations. Like, with, you got Dame back. You didn't know you were going to have Dame back when you traded for Drew. And then you got Scoot, and then you got Sharpe. If you have a late lottery pick, you might draft another guard. You got Caleb Love. Like, I would certainly explore what's out there for Drew at this upcoming trade deadline. It doesn't mean you have to trade him, but it might make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think the plan though is to have more like still have the young guys but have some grown-ups in the room too with Dame next year. And I think Dame was looking forward to playing with Drew. So it's kind of a weird dynamic too for next year if you move him. But I mean, obviously, if you can get assets for him, I think you got to take it. But they're also trying to make the play in this year, and that leads to I think it was a member message from Andy Marchant who said, "Will this L streak impact Cronin's deadline moves?" Um, I don't know because I mean 4-game losing streak. We know it was impacted by a 4-game winning streak a few years ago. So Cronin is the king of small sample sizes. But I mean, just a week ago, we were hearing from national people on social media saying that look for the Blazers to be buyers at the deadline, not sellers or whatever. And so now I don't know, man. I don't know. It shouldn't. Your plan should never be affected long term by a few game sample size either way. But I never know with this front office if that's the case or not.
I don't think they'll do anything, and I think that's the right move. outside of like if you can get a good package to sell on Drew or sell on Jeremy even,
or you can get Giannis.
Yeah, well, I mean, if Giannis wants to resign, I am all for giving up a package that would beat Golden State or Miami. Portland can beat Golden State's or Miami's package with an offer of the Milwaukee picks back to Milwaukee, the 2 swaps in the 2029 first. This is the best of Portland, Boston, Milwaukee. And then 2 other first-round picks in Scoot and Sharpe and Grant. That easily beats Miami's package. I think you can take out Scoot or Sharpe and beat Golden State's package. And Golden State's package is like ESPN's pushing, Windhorse is pushing, like that's the package to beat, which is just complete BS. You talk about negative asset in Jimmy Butler at his salary and age for a team that's going into a rebuild, and he's coming off a torn ACL at the end of next year. Who knows when he'll be back? That is a negative asset. Jonathan Kuminga has no value, and then Brandon Podziemski in 3 firsts. One of them's this year, and they're in playoff position, and then one of them is in 2028, where you still have Steph and Giannis, and then one of them's in 2032 or whatever. Like so far down the line, like is the GM is Horst still gonna be there to see that out? You know, like that is not a good package. That is not a good package. Miami's package, not a good package. Portland can beat those packages pretty easily, but I wouldn't, at this point, like, I don't know. If Giannis, really doesn't want to be there and is just like, I'm not going to come back, I'll play a year there, I'm not going to come back after that, then, okay, yeah, that gives me hesitancy. But I don't think he's going to get traded at the deadline. I think there's little to no chance he gets traded at the deadline. I think they're listening to offers. They're not looking to actively trade him, because here's the thing: who are the 4 teams that are in the running for him that I've heard, at least from national media? It's Golden State, just talking about that package, not that good. Miami's package is not that good. They can trade 2 firsts and Khalil Ware and Hero, I guess. Hawkes, okay, that's better than Golden State's, but it's still not that good. Minnesota, who has no picks and next to no young talent. And I've heard ESPN toss them out as an option, gross. And then the Knicks, they have no picks that they can trade, and they have Cat and McHale. None of those packages are any good. That's why I don't think Giannis gets traded. I think they wait until the offseason. They hope, because the teams that could give up the type of Godfather package they'd be looking for are teams that are supposedly not that interested in him right now, but that could change in the offseason. Those teams are the San Antonio Spurs, plethora of young talent, and still have picks that are tradable. The Houston Rockets, same exact thing applies to them. If they flame out in the first round or whatever, you got KD. The OKC Thunder, maybe? I don't think they'll ever really be a player in that, but if they get upset, in the second round or conference finals, and they're like, okay, we could easily trade for Giannis, and yeah, maybe they get involved. And also another year of first-round picks becomes tradable in the offseason as well. It's easier to trade first-round picks in the offseason. I don't think Milwaukee will trade Giannis until the offseason. And if I'm Portland, with the Bucks picks and with this team losing 4 in a row, I think they have a decent chance of losing the next 2 if Deni's not healthy. I would just be patient to A, try and convince Giannis to put Portland on his list of destinations he'd extend with in the offseason. Or B, once more buyers for Giannis become available, that's more potential facilitation options for Portland. And it may come down to a situation where there's a couple different teams that are putting up good packages for Giannis, but the Bucks want their picks back, and Portland can have a pick between 2 different players coming back from 2 different teams, or have options. They have leverage. If they trade any of the Bucks picks right now for a Jaren Jackson Jr., they could miss out on something better in the offseason. I don't think Jaren Jackson Jr. gets them over the hump. He certainly doesn't help their defensive rebounding issues that we've seen. And what? You're going to maybe play your way into the 8th seed and lose to OKC this year? You're going to rush it this year for what? So if I'm Portland, given how that is probably going to play out, I would be completely patient unless there was a complete no-brainer type of deal as a buyer. Now, if you can get a shooter for a couple second-round picks, sure, but like as a legitimate buyer, I think Portland should be very, very cautious.
One thing about Giannis, I believe so you can't sign an extension for like 6 months after you're traded. So if he's traded in the off season, I don't think you can extend him. I think you have to. That's why teams are talking about trading for him now, because then they could extend him this offseason. But I don't think you can if you trade for him in the offseason.
Yeah, but if you're in New York or if you're Houston or you're whatever, and it's like, okay, Giannis is cool with coming here, or like he says, he'll resign. You can resign him before free agency in the following offseason. Like,
true, but that is a risk without. But that's why a lot of teams are trying to get him now instead of the summer.
Yeah, but I think. I mean, of course, you get traded at the deadline if they have a package they feel like they can't refuse. But I think if Houston flames out in the first round, they could risk it for Giannis and give a better package than what Golden State's offering, even though it's riskier for them. Because Golden State, their package is not good. I don't understand why people think that package is good at all.
Yeah. I think too, because if he waited till free agency, like let's just say he says he's leaving, if he's traded here, not only would he have to find a team he wants to go to that can afford to pay him a max, especially if we weren't willing to help facilitate that in a sign-in trade, but he'd be signing as another team's free agent.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't get the super max. It would be whatever the regular max is. It's like he's potentially leaving a couple $100 million on the table by not being able to sign that max contract with whatever team he's on. Now, could he do that? Maybe, but I find it hard to believe if they have any sort of success or it's trending in a positive direction with Dame and Deni and whoever else is left around that team. I find it hard to believe that he wouldn't consider re-signing for a couple $100 million more on his contract. I mean, maybe money's not a big deal to him at this point, but that's a lot of money to give up in a contract.
Yeah. If I'm Portland, the only way I move a Bucks pick at this deadline is if you get a true star that makes you comfortable with giving up the opportunity cost of what those picks could become in 2028, 2029, 2030.
Agreed.
The opportunity cost of like maybe a better star becoming available via trade for those picks down the line. And the opportunity cost of like being a facilitator and maybe getting greater value in a trade by being a facilitator in a Giannis trade. And the opportunity cost of maybe trading for Giannis yourselves if you get really, really lucky and convince him to consider Portland, right? Like there's so much opportunity cost if you trade those picks at this deadline. I would be hesitant. Even trading one of them, I would be hesitant. Very hesitant. Even if it's for a star, like Jaren Jackson Jr. people consider a star, I wouldn't really look at that right now because I'm looking at bigger and greater things that all of a sudden are much harder or impossible to accomplish if you dilute some of those Bucks picks for a guy like Jaren Jackson Jr. Even when it comes to trading like one of Portland's own future first and Orlando pick for somebody that's not a star but like a really good starter. You know, people toss out Trey Murphy, but like apparently the Pelicans are going to want at least 3 first-round picks. Like even if those weren't Bucks picks, I would still be hesitant to do that because, you know, if you have a great opportunity down the line, even with the Bucks picks, like having more draft capital to be able to pounce on this situation is just going to give you more power to get it done for somebody that's like a true star, a bigger difference maker. You have some wing talent. You have some talent on this team. Trey Murphy is better than a lot of players on this team, and you'd start on this team. But, like, He's not to the level where I would give up 3 future firsts for him, and then all of a sudden all we have is the Bucks picks, and now we don't have the same level of leverage in negotiations down the line. I think patience is a virtue for the Blazers at this deadline, which you guys know me. I have never said anything like that ever in the history of this channel, but that's just the way the situation is lining up. I would look more at what could we sell Drew or Jeremy for? Could we get something that's really good? And all of a sudden we have an extra first round pick and maybe a little different salary position that's maybe a little bit better. Still keep one of them around for matching salary in a trade down the line, but now you got an extra first. Like, especially if it's somebody like Drew where you have Scoot, you have Sharpe, you got Caleb Love who's developed nicely, you have Dame back next year. Like, you could probably go without Drew. I know Eric said everything about Dame want to play with them, that sort of thing. Like, yeah, I guess you have to take that into account, but I think there's more opportunity in a sale than buying at this deadline.
Yeah. I guess it just depends on who you're after. I do think at some point you have to figure out, and the sooner the better. I mean, you can wait till the offseason, but what are you doing at backup center next year and the rest of this year? Are you going to try and re-sign Rob and have that be your backup center and just hope he's healthy? Or are you going to look elsewhere? And if you are going to look elsewhere, I feel like right now Rob's about as healthy as he's ever going to be in his career. Moving forward, like you might consider moving him, even if it hurts you a little bit right now.
You get what, 2 seconds?
I don't know what you
like.
Get.
If you can get a first, sure, yeah, absolutely. Like, listen to the calls, but I think realistically they could get a couple seconds for him. So if that's the case, backup center is actually the least of my worries, to be honest, because you can always go find an okay backup center. And if you can't get anything for Rob, then like you can let him walk in free agency. 2 seconds not going to really make a difference.
Yeah, maybe. But maybe you get like a solid shooter or something out of it.
Yeah, like you explore what's out there for Rob, but if there's, if it's a couple seconds and Maxi Kleba from the Lakers, I don't even know if they have 2 seconds to trade, but you kind of get the picture. Like, okay, all right, maybe they miss out on 2 seconds by going into the offseason not knowing what they're going to do with him, but that isn't really like losing out on much. So you don't want to lose out on an opportunity if you're not tied to Robert Williams long term and you can make a decision that's better for the long term by moving him. I think they absolutely should consider that with a more long term view in mind. But if you're missing out on like 2 seconds, the difference is negligible enough that if he walks, he walks. You figure out the backup center situation. Maybe get a guy that can play on second night of back-to-backs. Why not keep Rob? Well,
he's a free
if he's healthy throughout this entire season, I don't trust him to stay healthy through another season. Like, has he ever had 2 healthy seasons in a row? And then he doesn't play second night of back-to-backs? Like, I don't know. He's solid. He's okay, but I mean, you can find somebody that does 80% of what he does that is less injury prone and can play second night of back-to-backs for probably cheaper. So, yeah.
And then Sundo came in with a $20 donation.
Shout out to Sundo. I'll read this one because it addressed me because I was giving him crap. All right. Shout out to Sundo. I bullied him into donating. No, just kidding. I didn't actually do that. But he had a donation. $20 dono. Says, I know it's late, but as promised, go Blazers. Go Hawks. He's talking about the Atlanta Hawks. And then he says the Niners suck. Well, at least you donated, so there. I read off your donation message. He was during the Seahawks Niner game. I was telling him it was over after the first opening kickoff. He's like, "No, man, just wait till the fourth quarter." I was like, "All right, listen. You better donate the difference in the score by the start of the fourth quarter." And then, of course, the Seahawks were up like 1,000,000 points, so that's why we got the $20 dono. So thank you to Sundo. Shout out to Sundo. But I don't know what football is anymore.
I had no idea he was an Atlanta Hawks fan.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
The same Atlanta Hawks that are in the Super Bowl, you know. We got the Atlanta Hawks and the Boston Celtics in the Super Bowl. So, yeah.
One other thing about the picks. So obviously in 2 years, we're going to have to pay Deni probably a max, if not a super max or whatever, depending on, what he qualifies for. And he'll still be in his prime and all that, so it'll be fine. But there'll also be a case where, it depends on some of your rest of your roster, how expensive it is. And OKC is going through a thing right now where they might trade Hartenstein, they might trade Lou Dort just to clear up some money off their books so their roster's not too expensive around their main three guys. And so what OKC's plan all along has been is you just keep drafting guys and eventually you find someone you can replace a Lou Dort or an Isaiah Hartenstein with for cheaper, and you keep hoping that works out as long as you have your main core and you keep finding at least one rotation player like every couple of years in the draft.
Yeah.
And so the Blazers will be in a place where if they're paying Deni that much, I mean, I don't know what the rest of the roster will look like. We know we already have Tamani and Sharpe loaded up or under contract for 4 more years after this one. But there'll become a point where we need some cheap contracts. And so whether you like the draft or not, that is the easiest way to add to the team, potentially hit on someone that is good no matter where you're drafting, but also to just have like a cheap contract for rotational depth on your team. So that's another reason why we can't just go all crazy and trade all those picks for someone who's not worthy of them, or is it going to be like a long-term solution to like championship contention? Because you don't want to get stuck in the middle of a playoff seeding thing with a team that has no higher ceiling with no picks to potentially add to it or booster that lineup or that roster from that point to the higher point.
Yeah, a lot of people think about trades in terms of like, oh, we're trying to be competitive in this trade. Yeah, we give up future picks, but it makes us more competitive now. And I like the fit with these players right now. So like, yeah, let's do it, which isn't necessarily the wrong way or a bad way to think about it, in my opinion. But my analysis of whether a move is good or not boils down to a simple narrative that's really hard to calculate. And the narrative, or whatever you want to call it, the way I think about it is, would this move increase the Blazers' chances of winning a championship before they have to tear things down, blow it up, and rebuild again? If a move contributes to the odds to win a championship before they have to completely rebuild next time, then I'm all for that. If it's, and I'm phrasing this simply, there's a lot of factors and nuance that goes into this, but like, let's say they have a 3-year window where they have a 5% chance every year, but then a move extends it to a 6-year window where they have a 4% chance every year, but their odds overall to win a championship before they have to rebuild again are greater because you have a longer window. Like, all right, I might consider making that move. I don't have a good example for that, but like, this is all just kind of like theoretical, hypothetical, right? That's how I analyze every move. So that's where I'm sitting here talking about like, oh, if you can trade Drew for a first, an opportunity cost, like trading those Bucks picks for a guy like Jaren Jackson Jr., a lot of people would like to trade for a big name, but would that increase the chances the Blazers win a championship before they rebuild again? Because I kind of think they need to do something a little greater with those picks to really maximize their chances. And yeah, there's the downside that those picks, I don't know. Maybe Milwaukee's like a play-in team by the time those picks come around and they don't turn into anything better than Jaren Jackson Jr., but I would still take the risk because it gives you a better chance at winning a championship because it has the level of upside that could be truly franchise-changing more so than a Jaren Jackson Jr. would be for this team. So that's the way I like to look at roster building in general. I don't like to settle for being in the middle. I don't like making moves that get you stuck in the middle, like Eric was talking about, that lower your odds of actually getting to the peak of the mountain. It's all about how do you maximize your chances of winning a championship at some point with the current iteration and build of the roster moving forward.
Yep.
So
6 days till we
Yep.
can shelve this talk till the off season.
We have somebody new in our Discord that had a trade idea. Grant wanted me to talk about it on stream. Shout out to Grant. And shout out to who submitted this trade. They said rough framework, but if Giannis forces
Grant?
Yeah, Discord manager Grant.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. No, it was Grant Cohn sent this to me. No, I'm kidding. Rough framework, but if Giannis forces away to New York has to move both wings to get assets to do so. Something like OG to LA, the Lakers, OG to the Lakers, Reeves and Bridges to PDX, assets and Milwaukee's picks back to them, and Drew and Giannis to New York. Portland can build around a starting lineup of Dame, Reeves, Bridges, Deni, Clingan with a bench of Love, Sharpe, Kamara, Grant. Says, I think Reeves could have a Deni-like explosion away from LeBron and Doncic. I like the thought, but here's the issue. Reeves has already had the Deni-like explosion. 2 years ago, like, I've always been a big Reeves fan. I've been like, okay, man, that's intriguing. Like, I like Reeves. I've always liked his upside. I was a fan of him in the draft when he went undrafted. But he's already had the Deni-like explosion. There's no way the Lakers would trade Reeves for OG Anunoby. Reeves is much better than OG Anunoby. So, like, the trade kind of falls apart right there. The thing is the Bucks would probably like to have Reeves. The Bucks would essentially, I think, be trying to get Reeves and their picks back another way. But I just don't think the Lakers trade Reeves for OG.
Unless they know for sure he's not re-signing in the offseason and that's like the best they can get for him.
Yeah, but then do we know he's re-signing in the offseason?
No, I was just saying, like, he went to the Bucks. I don't know.
Oh,
maybe they don't want to pay him a max contract or something.
Yeah, but I just don't think the Lakers would trade Reeves for OG. Reeves has looked like a star. I think if he didn't get hurt, he might have made the All-Star game. OG's a really, really good role player. Reeves is on another level. Also, I don't like Dame and Reeves defensively together. I feel like it's a lot of the same issues that like Luka and Reeves have defensively. Yeah, you got Bridges, Deni, Clingan, so maybe you can make up for it. You got Kamara off the bench. You got Grant off the bench still. Defensively. But, yeah. Interesting idea, though. It's not the worst 4-team trade idea I've seen. Normally they're worse than that, so it's intriguing. But also I don't know if the Knicks want to trade. Well, I guess they keep Cat in that. No, they'd have to trade Cat to make the money work. So are they trading Cat to Milwaukee? Is that one of the assets? So the Knicks are trading Cat, OG, and Bridges for Giannis and Drew? Yeah, they'd probably do that. I don't know. Maybe they wouldn't. I don't know.
Yeah, Brandon Sullivan asked if the new owners are involved in trades or whatever. I think it's 100% yes. I mean, we're now less than 2 months until the date when they're supposed to take over. We already heard at Media Day that Cronin already talks to Dundon and stuff. And that is one of the reasons why I still think a Giannis trade is possible for the Blazers, like, to just go for it, because if Dundon like wanted to make his mark right away, and also Jody could claim, oh, this was my last thing for you guys before I'm on my way out the door. And speaking of Jody, just announced today the Seahawks are up for sale.
Yeah.
9 days before the Super Bowl. Crazy timing on that one, but so I think we finally have the answer to when she's going to be forced to sell both teams, and it is about now.
Yeah.
So she probably held out for that paycheck every year for as long as she could, but
God, I'm hoping for a loss in her final game as owner. Oh, the
yeah,
Seahawks.
we'll see. But yeah, so we'll see, man. I do wonder if both owners could then take credit for it, and it kind of be like a goodwill for Jody leaving, and a good start to Dundon's career, to just like make a huge move like that. Still have to have the Bucks accept it, but I don't know. Yeah, like you mentioned, I look at all those packages, and I feel like if Portland really wanted to offer more than any other team, they could, and we have multiple other firsts we can add to the Bucks picks as well, and young players. So like, I don't know, man. I feel like that's the one thing holding me back from saying, oh, Portland never does this or would never do it, or wouldn't risk Giannis staying or whatever. We do have new ownership that maybe wants to make a huge splash and isn't afraid to do stuff. So
that's the thing. I could see Dundon coming in like fresh owner, first off season, wanting to be the guy that makes the biggest trade in franchise history. You know, at least if you're not counting a draft pick that became Dame, right? And I think it'll be if they feel like there's a somewhat realistic chance to re-sign Giannis, then they're going to be a player. If they think there's no chance, then I don't think Dundon's dumb and just got to like mortgage the future for 1 year of Giannis. Although, you know, maybe we have a Raptors year and win a championship, like, you know. But I think that's where he might be the type of guy to try and make a splash. It would be stressful here about, oh, is Giannis going to leave? We're hearing all these teams are making moves to clear cap space for the following offseason, and we could lose Giannis a year after getting him. Like, that would not be fun, but it'd be wild to see him in a Portland uniform. You know what I mean? It'd be a very, very different experience. So, I don't know. Like, yeah, you'd mortgage the future, but I mean, that's where you have to hope that if he resigns, you have a 5-year championship window, you know?
Yeah.
You have a realistic shot to win one every year for 5 years. Like,
DJ Vega keeps saying that Giannis doesn't want Portland, according to Jake Fisher. Dude, Giannis doesn't have a no trade clause though. Like,
also, Jake Fisher was the guy pushing McHale because of something 3 years ago. Also, please, I have not heard this or read it, but link it. Link it.
Yeah.
Send it to me in the Discord.
I said this last stream, but trading for Giannis, if we did it before Thursday, to me, it's the best of both worlds, because we either make the play in and then have Giannis come back some point towards the end of the season, and we go into a playoff series with Giannis, and potentially if we make the playoffs, you know, we finally convey that pick if the protections don't get altered, and then we actually would have our picks the next 2 years and could actually trade our 2027 first. Then, even if we traded every other pick we can trade in the future. But The thing is too, if Giannis is more hurt or out for most of the year and we don't make the playoffs, then we still have a lottery pick to add to that team because we can't trade that pick either in that Giannis trade. So we either get a lottery pick to Giannis or we get a playoff run with Giannis as part of the team instead of their current roster, and that'd be pretty cool.
And listen, if Giannis doesn't want to play here, okay, more power to him. But also, it makes me just view him as just like a basic guy, man. Like, of course you want to go to the big market, man. Of course you just want to go to an already established team. This would be a great opportunity for him to play with Dame, play with Drew, also take a team that's been struggling and immediately make them true contenders. True contenders. Like, I think post-trade, this team would be just as good as the Knicks would be after they trade for Giannis. Like, he completes the picture. It's from a live stream he did. Yeah, I searched people tweeting it. I mean, but listen, he might not want to come to Portland. If that's the case, then screw him. But,
throughout Portland's history, though, there's been lots of guys who never wanted to go to Portland and then end up loving it here once they're here. I don't know if that would be the case for Giannis. I'm not saying it would be, but I mean, the team next year would be pretty freaking good, potentially, especially if you made some smart moves around that move. You probably get a couple of vet men ring chaser type guys for the first time in a long time. So I don't see why you wouldn't take that risk if you believe in this team and the franchise and stuff.
Donovan Mitchell would have also said he didn't want to go to Cleveland. FYI.
And then everyone said he wasn't going to resign, and he's resigned twice now or something.
Yep. Yeah, because I mean, Giannis would be able to get more money with whatever team he gets traded to.
DJ Vega's asking if it's possible to give the Bucks the other side of protections from the Bulls picks, and it is not the way it's worded because you can't give a pick if you possibly owe it the next year. So the only way to trade a pick, our pick from 2026 to 2028 right now, is if they somehow alter the protections. But
we could if the 2027 pick wasn't backing up the protections to Chicago. Like if it was like, oh, Chicago gets it. If it's 15-30 this year, it turns into seconds, then we could trade 1-14 because we'd be guaranteed to have our 2027 first. So then we could trade 1-14 this year to Milwaukee. But because if it's 1-14 this year to Milwaukee, then we'd also owe 2027. Then we wouldn't have any picks in 2026 or 2027. So that'd violate the Stepien rule.
Yeah. And well, but like we can trade the Orlando 2028, the best of Boston, us, and Milwaukee's 2029 back to them. So that's even better than trading their pick back to them, in my opinion, in 2029. We can trade the swaps in 2028, 2030, and then we could trade our own picks in 2030 and 2032, our first round picks. And then we can do a swap in 2031 as well. I don't see any team short of OKC matching that. And I don't think OKC would. So I don't see anyone. That's a lot of draft capital, even without or being hamstrung by the next 3 years with the Bulls pick being owed. So I don't even think we need the Bulls pick or our pick in the next couple of years to do that. I mean, and maybe the Bucks get a little soured on the fact that it's not a pick in this draft or whatever, but they should have a pretty high pick with both them and New Orleans being so bad, especially if they trade Giannis. So yeah, I think they would be willing to do it. Like DJ Vega says, that just leaves their 2027 first as their only future pick they wouldn't control anymore fully. I do think the 2028 is still, I don't think the swap really matters going back to them because I think they still have to swap it with Washington possibly. I think there might be some protections on it though. So yeah, I don't know.
I think the way it could work is like I think the way it works is we could trade them the best swap and take back the worst swap if we just wanted to undo the swap, and like Washington would still get, you know, the better of their pick and the worst swap that we now have.
Yeah.
Like all those protections and like conditions would get transferred over to us, but it's be the same exact thing on the Washington side. So I don't think that'd be a restriction, and we could just trade the pick outright. But I don't know, man. If Giannis doesn't want to come here, fine. But like, dude, Deni would maybe be the best player you've ever played with. Thank you. I don't know. Hopefully the flu isn't going through your house or whatever it was, but I don't know. I mean, like Dame, the 2 years he played with him, probably better than Deni is now. But like, you know what I mean? It's Denny's a great sidekick. You got Dame. I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyway, let's do a tankathon. We'll have more to talk about here, but I just hate how all the Eric, I just hate how all the national media is just like pining for like Golden State when their package sucks and New York when their package sucks. It's acting like it's better than what it is.
I think Golden State could do like 4 firsts and 3 swaps, which is not bad.
I thought they could only trade 3. People have been talking about like they can only trade 3. But maybe
I thought I saw Bobby Marks thing say if they could do 4 and they had all control of all their future first, so they could do 4 and
so they have a top 20 protected 2030 pick owed to Washington. So
it's
I think
only
that's
like
why
1.
people like they could trade 1 to 20. So yeah, they could basically trade 4 picks. But I mean, dude, 2076, 2028, you have Giannis and Curry. Like those picks aren't going to be in the lottery. If, you know, assuming Curry retires by 2030, they're going to have Giannis. They're going to be in the Bay with a crap ton of cap space. They're going to be fine. You know what I mean? Like, they are going to be fine.
Yeah.
Like, none of those are going to be that good.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if they get their own picks, they can purposefully be bad and take their time and rebuild and add a bunch of young talent.
No, I agree if you're comparing it to us. I think it's just compared
But, like,
to...
that should be the goal in any trade. It shouldn't be like, oh, we get 4 picks that are all probably going to be 15 or worse, you know? And the best young talent we get back is Brandon Podziemski.
It's just funny because, like, when we were trading Dame, like, everyone wanted us to trade him to a big market and
and then we
take a lesser package.
Yeah, it's just the way it always goes. It's the way it always goes. I think that package might be worse than the Dame trade we got back. The Dame package that we got back. I mean, in hindsight, definitely. Like, you got Deni, you got Tamani.
I mean, Tamani is kind of a separate part of that trade, but...
Yeah, and you could have freaking drafted him instead of Repair. But it's neither here nor there. We're alone in 12th place. We're actually tied for 11th, but our winning percentage is slightly worse. Eric, do you look at this? We're only 3.5 games out of 7th best odds.
Did you see Dame doing full sprints?
Yeah.
Okay, just hypothetical. I know he says he's not playing this year, right? Which I fully agree with, right? Do you think if we traded for Giannis and made the playoffs, there would be any chance he would come back and play like 10 minutes a game off the bench?
I don't know if he'd come back to only play 10 minutes a game. I think either it's like he would get cleared and he'd feel comfortable and come back and play 20 minutes a game, or he wouldn't. I don't know. I wouldn't rule it out.
Because I know he was saying like, oh, well, if we made the playoffs, I wouldn't need to come back yet because the team would be doing fine without me. But if it's like adding Giannis towards the end
Yeah,
of the
because we
year, I
added
think it's
Giannis.
different. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, they finally get a
Like we
chance to
could go
play
for it
there in
this year a little bit,
playoffs.
right? Depending on what other moves they made or if they.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, like someone's pointing out, like if we made the playoffs and had some success without Dame, and then we add Dame in the offseason and made a couple of good moves to get some shooters or something. Like there's also, I mean, that's also huge in terms of just convincing Giannis to stay here that we're really building something.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd want to go on a run, I think, in the playoffs to convince him to stay. But it'd only be if he's like mentally ready and completely comfortable, and the medical staff is being smart for once and completely signs off on it because it's actually okay for him to play. Like everything would need to line up.
B Skrilla said Dame said he could play right now.
But
I'm
did
glad
he
he's
really?
being smart though. I don't know. I didn't hear that, but yeah.
What if he comes back before Scoot? What if after the All-Star break
Oh
you
my.
see just random injury report like Damian Lillard questionable? Scoot's still out. Everybody would think they made a typo. Yeah. Anyway.
And unfortunately for Dwop, I think short of another trade or using him as salary in a trade for something, I think we have to move him or we have to cut him.
Yeah.
And use that roster spot because we can't have. I mean, with all the injuries we currently have and Dame being out for the year, you can't also just keep someone else on the roster that's out for the year who's not even a rotation player.
Yep. Tankathon Sim. San Antonio via Atlanta at 14. At 13, we have Chicago. At 12, we have the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah.
At 11, we have OKC via the Clippers. At 10, we have Charlotte. Man, look at Charlotte. They've won 5 in a row. I told y'all they were coming. All right? They've been on fire since I said that.
I read some article about the top teams might tank at the end of the season to not be the 1 seed just to avoid potentially having to play Charlotte in the first round.
Dude.
Imagine saying that to someone like a year ago.
I know Detroit's been really good this year, but like I think Charlotte could give them some trouble in a first round series for an 8 seed. Like I think they could win a couple of games and maybe shock the world.
They need to go into that series healthy, but yeah, if they were healthy, I agree.
But like they could buy at the deadline and then be scarier. Yeah, like they are coming. They're up next. Like I think they'll make the playoffs next season. I don't know about this season, but it would be fun to see them in the play-in instead of Chicago or Atlanta, So hopefully they get there. They survived Cooper Flag dropping 49 on them yesterday. At 9, we got Dallas. At 8, we have Memphis, which I think that means Milwaukee moved into the top 4. Milwaukee's pick. I'll just pretend this is a year we get one of the swaps, At 7 is Utah. Yeah, Milwaukee moved up. At 6 is Brooklyn, and at 5 is Washington. So Atlanta at least has a top 3 pick. Because both New Orleans and Milwaukee's picks are top 4. So if this ever plays out when we have a swap, this is basically how it works. Like, because they get the best one, and Milwaukee gets the worst one. Like Atlanta cannot be 4th because that's the worst pick going to.
It's even
Milwaukee.
So in 2029, where we owe the second best of 3 picks, if this happened, we'd also be in the same scenario where.
Yeah, exactly. Like
because
if Boston and Milwaukee sucked or something. Yeah,
Washington would have to get the worst of those 2. So yeah, we'd be guaranteed a top 3 right now. In this draft, that'd be so ideal. We'd be sitting here being we got one of the big
cool.
3.
I wouldn't even be stressing on the commercial break.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. But like if it's not Atlanta or Milwaukee at 4, then Atlanta at least has a top 2 pick. Like, yeah, it's kind of the way it works. So we'll see. Let's see. At 4 is New Orleans pick to Milwaukee. So there's the Milwaukee pick. At 3 is Sacramento. At 2 is Indiana, and at 1 is Atlanta via Milwaukee. Look how Atlanta just hasn't made, dude. With this freaking pick that maybe could have been ours, but we wanted Young Hansen. And then when I talked about this on Twitter, people were like, you don't know if that pick's gonna be any good. Like, you don't know what Young Hansen's gonna be. He might be the next Jokic. Anyway. I wish I became GM of this team this past offseason. Because I would have been like, Joe would have called me up like, hey, so, we want the 11th pick. Would you be interested in the best pick between us and Milwaukee next year? Yes, deal. Immediately dialing up the league office on the other phone.
Like, well, you forgot, Tori, like, maybe you wouldn't get to this point, but they also got the 23rd pick in that deal, so.
Yeah.
We
were also going to offer you the 23rd pick. Oh, really? And then I put the phone on mute. Is he drunk? Like, what is wrong with this? It might be trolled. I wouldn't believe it's real. If I got offered that, I would not believe it's real. It's such an insane, asinine trade. And Derek Queen's been good, but you're talking about a generationally good class and having the top 3 pick, like. Oof.
All you would have had to say too, if let's say he called and was only willing to offer it with protections or something, all you would have had to say was, well, we have an offer for Memphis for 16 and an unprotected 2028, so we're gonna take that. Sorry, and then he would have been like, okay, I'll make it unprotected too, and then you would have cooked. But yeah, you wanted Hans. Young freaking Hansen. Could you imagine if we just took Cedric Coward, like how much easier a Giannis package would be right now? Yeah, I mean, it would suck to trade him, but
yeah, or you feel more comfortable trading like Tamani with Scoot and Sharpe because you have Cedric Coward, like shoot, I think Cedric Coward might be better than Tamani. So yeah, like you just have that extra asset. But nope. I would have taken him at 11. I would just sat there at 11 and taken him, by the way, chat. For all the people saying, you're not the GM. I would have taken him. I would have taken the best of Milwaukee or New Orleans first if that was offered. But then I just sat there and taken Cedric Coward. Not twice. Like, would have sent that.
We wouldn't have the Orlando first, though. I'd much rather have the 2026 first.
Yeah, what do you mean we would have the Orlando first? All right.
Also, I don't know if I'd trade it for Giannis, but we'd be guaranteed to have a package good enough to get Giannis if we had that pick right now, too.
Oh, dude.
Could offer Milwaukee's pick back to them.
Dude. Like, literally.
We might not have to give him very much else.
I know,
right?
like, we sit here like, okay, you have the worst. You also want the best, and then you can have both, and you might end up with 2 top 3 picks. Like, restart your rebuild. We'll trade you the 2028 swap too, like those 2 picks on top of like Grant, Thibault, and Rob Will.
Yeah,
literally gets you in the door compared to all these other offers. You're not even talking about trading any of your young players. Yeah, literally, if that was offered and the Blazers said no, it's one of the biggest mistakes in franchise history that nobody will ever talk about. Yeah.
You don't know if it's possible.
I mean, Joe Dumars said that he offered it from 9 on down to 13, and we were at 11. Something must have went weird there, though, because I don't think 4 other teams would have also said no at the same time. So that's why I'm like, if it was offered, because I don't think 4 teams would have said no to that. That's such a great deal. And we're seeing exactly why.
Who went 9 and 10?
9 was... 10 was Maluach.
Yeah.
Like the Suns could have had this pick.
I mean, the Suns probably were just... They probably had already agreed to the Charlotte trade, and because they got Mark Williams too, and they probably just were like, oh no, we're already trading for this pick, or I don't know. Jaeger was 8. Oh, yeah. Fierce was 7.
Who Who is 9? Why am I blanking on this? Who is 9? I don't even remember who's picking 9th. Asenge was 12th. Queen was 13th. Coward was 11th.
The Bulls is the stupid one, too.
Yeah, Asenge. I'm not even going to look at chat. It's going to bother me if I don't figure this out on my own. Mm-hmm. Don't say it. We'll see who can figure it out first. Who was picking 9th? Where was Sacramento picking? Who? Dude, this is going to... I need to figure this out on my own. I'm
just drawing a huge blank. Yeah.
I know, because I remember all the picks around.
Chat hasn't said yet.
Nah, don't look. Don't spoil.
Someone just spoiled.
I told you not to look. I'm going to figure it
out.
It's Colin Murray Boyles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was looking down the list of teams and I saw Toronto. I was like, oh, yeah. That's why it's not coming to me, because Toronto's a playoff team right now. Yeah, it's Colin Murray Boyles. Who was 6th? now I'm trying to remember the whole draft order. Huh?
It went Flag, Harper, Edgecombe, Knipple, Bailey.
Oh, Trey Johnson.
Yeah. Trey Johnson, yeah.
14th was...
I see Alex Wolf in chat. He just went to the Atlanta-Houston Rockets game last night in Atlanta. That must have been pretty fun. He's trying to go to all the arenas. And there's a rumor he might have wanted to see what Lou Williams' lemon pepper wings at Magic City tasted like. So I wonder if he ended up going there. He didn't give me a scouting report.
Yeah, why aren't you vlogging this? That's my question. You should vlog that. Trevin says Tori hates Colin Murray Boyles that much because draft Twitter likes him. That's not even as bad as the ones this year. Like I saw a board today with Tyler Tanner above AJ DeBonsa. They love Tyler Tanner. That's another one of those guys, Eric. They love Tyler Tanner. Spreadsheet.
Yeah, someone that had AJ at 11, huh?
Yeah. They hate AJ. They love Tyler Tanner. They love Alvaro Folgueras, who's playing 17 minutes off the bench for Iowa. And they love, like, a lot of them will have Gongba, like, 5th. And then it's all like, oh, we have our own opinions, you know? Yeah, we go against consensus, but it's like, you guys have your own consensus that's just completely whack, and it's all the same sort of stuff, so it's very weird. Tori, have you released your vlog from a Golden State trip yet? No, I have 200 gigabytes taken up on my laptop because I have to, like, the footage I have to, like, convert to certain file types to be able to edit it properly, so it's probably going to be, like, 50 minutes, but I'll timestamp it. There will be some like driving and like landscape stuff, but I'll timestamp it in case you guys want to like skip ahead to the certain parts. But yeah, I'm gonna try and make some progress this weekend. It might not be till All-Star break. At some point I will though, because it will be a good time capsule for myself at the very least. Connor says the dude that put DeMonte at 11 was hilarious, just trying to be different for no reason. It's like they try to be different, but they're all the same as each other. It's so strange to me. It's so strange.
He also didn't have a cuff on his top 30 at all.
Yeah. Yeah. But you love Tyler Tanner. You love Tyler Tanner, but you hate a cuff. Yeah. It makes no sense. Makes no sense. We're going to have to do some draft stuff too. Next 2 games are against Cleveland and Phoenix. If we lose both games, we promise we will do a mock draft on that Phoenix postgame. Okay? So that's your guys' prize for suffering through 2 more losses is we'll do a mock draft. Before we ever do our big board. And we'll do 50% what we think, 50% what we think the team would do, take into account team needs, so it won't be like spoiler for a big board. All right, so.
I'm looking forward to All-Star break to really hit.
I know.
the draft hard. I have so many games on my DVR waiting to be watched.
It's been harder for me to like get started and get into it without Hoop Intellect videos. That
Yeah.
was like a lot of times that was like my introduction to a guy, and I'd like see some of the tape and hear him talking about like, okay, I have a baseline. Now I'm gonna go watch him, know what to look for. Like then I go into games, watch the player, make up my own mind.
Yeah. Did anyone ever figure out what team he
No,
got here?
no idea. No idea, man. Yeah, no idea. I miss his videos though, and the Adam Spinella videos. If you want to be a scout, start a YouTube channel like those because it works. It works.
If you put in the work.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work. It's a lot.
He was so like last year he didn't even. I mean, he used to go through like all the prospects, and like the past couple of years it had been just like some of the main guys. But
Yeah.
I mean,
he do like the big board
boards.
videos.
Yeah, but I mean, like specific videos for one thing kept getting less.
Yeah, yeah, you do like 20. Which those videos take so much work, man.
Yeah.
Like people don't understand the time that goes into.
Trevin says I'm gonna have to trade all my picks in the mock without moving the link.
Yeah, we'll see if we do the mock this year. I'm not sure. I don't think I'll have the time to run it like at all. So we'll have to figure something out. But...
Wait, what did you say?
Oh, I said we'll see if we do the mock off season this year. I don't think I'll have the time to run it like I have had in the past. So we need to figure something out. I don't know what that looks like, but it'll be fun. Anyway, anything else, Eric?
Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you have a great weekend, everyone. And big game now against Cleveland. Got to stop this skid on Sunday. Hopefully we come out and play better in the first quarter than we have, not get behind by a bunch and have to come back. But yeah, just team's got to come back across the country and play a game in 2 days. Hopefully they're ready for it because we really need to get out of this funk.
I agree. You know what's funny? We have a game and a half better record against the West than the Houston Rockets do. We are 18-14 against the West. We are 5-12 against the East. 5-12 against the East. Now, we've played a lot of the good East teams and not many of the bad East teams, but we lost to the Wizards, so don't know. Don't know what the deal is there.
Dude, a Giannis traded to Portland stream would be insane.
Oh, yeah, that'd be wild, man. That'd be insane. Yeah. One day we'll have a big trade reaction stream.
My wife is going to be pissed if it's tomorrow.
What is that?
We're just going to the beach for the night. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Hopefully,
my stuff, just
when you're
kids.
in the car, you can do a car call-in like I did on the way back from California. But yeah, Blazers play next on Sunday. We'll have that post-game stream. Another freaking Sunday game. There's always Sunday games, man.
Better than Saturday games.
Yeah. Just feels like there's more weekend games this year.
Remember we fired Stotts on a night I was having a date night with my wife.
Yeah, you had the alcohol already for that. Anyway, yeah, we'll see if they can do better against the Cavs. I mean, hopefully Deni is a little bit fresher and he can show up, and hopefully Drew can show up, and hopefully Tamani can show up, and hopefully Clingan can show up, and then maybe shoot a couple more twos and not pray when he makes a three, not praise the Lord when he makes a three. And then we got Phoenix on national television at home, which we got blown out last time, so hopefully that game goes better. But Phoenix is like unstoppable right now, and they beat the freaking Cavs even though they don't have Devin Booker or Josh or Jalen Green. They don't have Jalen Green or Devin Booker, and they beat the Cavs.
Dylan Brooks.
They beat the Cavs and the Pistons. Why are they so freaking good? It doesn't matter. They're missing their starting backcourt, and they're still just Jordan Knott's coach of the year. I don't understand what the hell's happening there. Like, they get 17 off the bench in 22 minutes from Jordan Goodwin. Cool. They get 11. Oh, Jalen Green's back?
Yeah, he played tonight.
Oh. He had 11 in 16 minutes off the bench. He's at the very bottom. They got Jamari Bouye giving them good minutes. If you remember him, he was one of like the tanking guys that we had in the past. And then Colin Gillespie's really good. It pisses me off. So, anyway, I think it's more likely we beat the Cavs than the Suns, but both are tough teams. Like 6-game losing streak incoming, possibly, man. Imagine being 5 games below 500 after we got a game above 500. That'd be very disheartening. I don't feel good. Anyway.
And All-Star reserves get announced Sunday, like people are saying in chat. So we'll be hopefully celebrating Deni getting an All-Star berth.
Yep, 1,000%.
But thanks everyone for watching. Hope you have a good weekend.
Yep. You as well. Elizabeth Allen. Laurie's not an all-star. I don't think he's an all-star. 27 points per game, nothing else on one of the worst teams in the league. There's other guys that are more impressive, including Deni. If Laurie made it over Deni, I'd be pissed. You'd hear me rant about it on Sunday. We'll see. We'll be talking about a lot of stuff on Sunday. We'll see if we have any other trade rumors. We'll see the all-star reserves. You're agreeing with me. Okay, then you're smart. Just kidding. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. But we're out of here. We're out of here. Hopefully you have a good weekend, good rest of your night. We'll see you at the end of the weekend after the Blazers take on the Cavs. Hopefully they can win a freaking game. That'd be cool. It's like we finally made it above 500, and now it's like, okay, we'll hang on to that one game above 500 that one time in the second half of the season for the rest of the year. Whatever. Blazers lose. That was disgusting. Thank you guys for watching, despite how disgusting that game was. We're out of here. Have a good rest of your night. Until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers!